Aita for my child, future children, and me not wanting a relationship with my in-laws. I am a 35-year-old female, and my husband is a 35-year-old male, and we are in an interreligious marriage. We have been together since 2014 and got married in 2019. My husband and I have not encountered significant issues regarding our life views or principles until my in-laws discovered that I was his girlfriend in 2016, which led to chaos. The major mistakes I committed due to patriarchal conditioning, which I have recognized after attending therapy, are 1. My misperception that elders deserve respect and access regardless of their actions or words, and 2. My attempts to please others to secure their acceptance or acknowledgement. Below is a summary of key events in my life to illustrate the situation. 1. 2016. They attempted to control him regarding what he should do and where he should live, even forcing him to relocate to another city to start a business. This did not work out, as he has always been an independent individual, and their attempts did not affect our relationship. 2. 2017. They frequently called me on my mobile to criticize, abuse, and harass me, insisting that I would never be good enough for their son. They warned that marrying him would disgrace their family name. For context, they do not come from wealth, yet possess an inflated sense of superiority. They even went so far as to claim that my blood was impure and should not mix with their lineage. One of them crossed a line by stating, "I curse you, if you marry my son, you will never have children or they will suffer." They escalated their harassment by contacting my father as well. My father endured their behavior for my sake and remained unresponsive to their comments. 3. 2018. I suffered consecutive accidents resulting in injuries, and after about 6 months they ceased. After my wedding in 2021, my mother-in-law casually revealed that she had consulted with her sister to perform some form of magic to separate me from her son. She later claimed that after hearing about my accidents, she became frightened and undid the spell. I cannot comprehend her delusions. The fact that she thought informing me about undoing an ill intention would earn her favor is quite telling. 4. 2019. My husband and I decided to marry. My father-in-law and mother-in-law called and texted me frequently, advising me to reject any proposal from their son, which ruined that moment for me. However, I loved my partner for who he is, and when he organized a lovely proposal with our friends in mind, I accepted. We proceeded to plan our wedding, but they told my husband they would disown him as a final attempt to control the situation. This strategy ultimately failed, as he felt deeply hurt by their disregard for his happiness. 3 days before our wedding, they unexpectedly changed their minds and showed up. In my heart, I believed their decision was motivated by the realization that if they did not attend the wedding, they would lose their son forever. 5. 2020-2022. They began to crave control in our marriage and intruded upon our lives, despite our move to another country to create distance. They were unhappy that we were apart and pressured us to quit our jobs and return to them. They established no boundaries, and I allowed this to continue as my husband was not supportive in setting limits. They demanded to know my menstrual cycle and when I was intimate with my husband. They openly wished me happy birthday and urged me to go have sex with my husband so they could have a grandchild. They assigned me a different name to use within their household and looked at me with disgust if they accidentally referred to me by my actual name. They scowled if I did anything that reminded them of my background, religion, or identity. They resented my job and financial independence, frequently insisting that wives should support and follow their husbands. They required daily calls to summarize our activities and demanded a say in every decision we attempted to make as a couple, throwing tantrums if we disagreed or ignored their input, even concerning simple life choices, like purchasing a vehicle. Whenever I tried to please them, they engaged in a twisted behavior of offering just a bit of approval, leaving me longing for more. When I confronted them about this, they would dismiss me by saying it would take time to accept me and that I needed to prove I could live according to their family's values. They constantly triangulated me and my husband to the point where he could not withstand the pressure and ended up cheating on me for 6 weeks in 2021. They blamed this on me, claiming I was not meeting his needs. I believed our entire relationship had been predominantly long distance, and we had not experienced these issues until their interference began. As painful as this experience was, it taught me that I had afforded these two individuals too much influence and importance in my marriage and needed to sever ties. I went no contact with my in-laws, and we participated in couples therapy, which was instrumental in our journey toward healing from the trauma they inflicted on our lives. My husband began to recognize how peaceful and joyful our marriage could be without the presence of my in-laws. He continued to speak to them as their son and maintain a relationship, but the family he originated from and the family he built became entirely separate entities. 6. 2023. For the first time in my life, I became pregnant, realizing that the anxiety they generated had taken a toll on my physical and mental health. Cutting them out of my life allowed me to heal. Unfortunately, I experienced 2 pregnancies in 2023, both of which ended within 12 weeks. I could not shake the belief that my mother-in-law's curse from 2017 contributed to this outcome, leading my resentment toward her to intensify. 7. 2024. I still maintain no contact with my in-laws and achieved a successful pregnancy with my double rainbow baby boy. During the first trimester, I attempted to re-establish communication by setting boundaries, hoping they might foster a healthier dynamic. However, it proved fruitless. They remained selfish, trying to dictate when, how, and what needed to be done, including what I should or should not eat. They have repeatedly proclaimed that while their son and grandchildren will always be part of their family, I will forever be regarded as an outsider with impure blood. Having endured this treatment, and been remarkably patient in an attempt to preserve a relationship with 2 individuals who have persistently harmed my mental well-being and my marriage, paving the way for my husband's infidelity, cursing me to lose pregnancies, seeking narcissistic control over my marriage, and employing black magic with the intent of causing me harm, I am now faced with their crocodile tears and victim playing as they claim they do not wish to force a relationship with me, but believe it is their right to have a relationship with my son. My husband supports my decision, yet as a son, he finds himself in a difficult position due to their guilt-inducing tactics. How can I contemplate allowing them access to my child when they have always made me feel unsafe and unwelcome? More importantly, they have never respected me. What kind of example would I be setting for my son by permitting him to grow up in an environment that condones their behaviors? I am determined to prevent cycles of generational trauma from affecting him. He deserves a life free from this chaos. In conclusion, am I the antagonist for not wanting a relationship with my in-laws for myself and my future children? Story 2. Should I break up with my boyfriend? Should I end my relationship with my boyfriend? I, female, 23, and my boyfriend, male, 22, have been together for a year and a half. We are each other's first love, or at least I believe that, and my family adores him as if he were their own child. Our bond feels unique, and people often refer to us as a power couple, claiming that we are perfectly matched for one another. The only significant issues I encounter are feelings of betrayal and the need to repeatedly express how I wish to be loved. I recognize these are serious concerns, and I should genuinely contemplate ending things with him. This is why I am seeking your advice. I find myself in a state of confusion regarding this situation. I feel overwhelmed and nearly entirely disengaged about 90% out of the relationship. I will try to keep this brief, so not every detail will be covered, but I will share the most critical points. It began in the 2nd month of our relationship. He still had some female acquaintances on his social media whom he used to communicate with, and when I inquired about them, he assured me they were merely friends, which I now realize they were not. He deleted them when I expressed my discomfort about his connections with them. That same week, I discovered a message on his phone from a girl asking him what time they were supposed to meet up. When I questioned him about it, he insisted he had never texted her and claimed it was likely part of a group outing that she individually inquired about. He stated that he never hung out with her alone. By the 3rd month, I noticed he was liking pictures of female friends on Instagram. This wasn't my main concern, however. The issue was that all the photos he liked featured them in bikinis or revealing attire. To express my frustration, I wore a very short dress to a birthday party we were attending, and he did not approve of that. We discussed the pictures and the dress, and he acknowledged that he crossed a boundary and promised not to do it again. In the 5th month, I discovered he had been watching pornography, which he knows is one of my biggest deal breakers. When I confronted him about it, he assured me he would refrain from doing so in the future. By the 7th month, I found out that he had been accessing pornography through Reddit. I confronted him about this as well, and after a lengthy conversation, he promised he would stop. He also admitted to struggling with pornography due to his insecurities about whether his performance meets my expectations. I told him that I thought this reasoning was unfounded and that he should seek help. In the 9th month, we moved in together to a city on the opposite side of the country. He enrolled in school here while I attempted to establish my own life. He got acquainted with his new classmates and built friendships with many of them. However, there was one girl who seemed overly familiar with him. He was oblivious to it, but I noticed her looking at him adoringly, speaking with him only when I was not nearby, and calling him whenever there was an outing to ask what time he would arrive. I requested that he maintain distance from her, and he complied. He claims he does not see or communicate with her much. Throughout these months, we have engaged in numerous arguments and discussions about his failure to take me on dates, not buying me flowers, lacking quality time, and his tendency to overlook my needs. Each time, he agrees that he should change these behaviors and initially puts in the effort for a couple of weeks before becoming complacent again. Despite these issues, he communicates with me respectfully and frequently expresses his love for me. He never raises his voice, and we invariably converse calmly and respectfully. I can check his phone whenever I want, and he answers all my questions promptly. He also takes care of my needs, ensuring I never have to fetch my own water or anything else. Recently, he has begun to buy me flowers and has dedicated more time and affection to our relationship. About 2 weeks ago, I went through his phone again and discovered a video of him massaging one of his female classmates. Additionally, I found an old Snapchat account he claimed to no longer use. On that account were screenshots and videos of naked women with whom he had been involved. He had sent these images from his new Snapchat account to the old one during our relationship. When I confronted him about it, he stated he had forgotten about the account and the photos. While I genuinely believe him, it was still painful for me. We had a lengthy discussion about this, and I chose to return to my parents' home for a week. I wrote him a letter explaining my reasons for leaving and requested he write me a letter in return by the time I returned. He did write back, and I read his letter. Upon my return, I also penned him a second letter that clearly stated this was his final opportunity and that he needed to behave like a responsible partner. Otherwise, there would be no relationship. I decided to move back in with my parents as I had been job hunting for 3 months without success, and I lack a social life here. Additionally, I have been mentally exhausted by everything that has occurred. We discussed these matters, and it was a productive conversation. I just woke up, and he is still asleep. I felt compelled to check his phone, so I did. I discovered that he had been viewing pictures of naked women in his photo gallery, which I found in the recently viewed tab. This indicates that he accessed it within the past 2 to 3 weeks. I genuinely do not know how to proceed. I want to end the relationship, but I still love him, though perhaps not as I once did. I fear I may regret my decision to break up with him. At the same time, I believe I would be better off without him. I know he loves me and is currently making the necessary changes that he should have made before, but it feels like it might be too late. Can someone offer some helpful advice? I apologize if this was overly lengthy. Thank you in advance. Summary. I, female, 23, am contemplating ending my relationship of 1.5 years with my boyfriend, male, 22, after repeatedly discovering his use of pornography and imploring him to improve his behavior. However, I am concerned that I may regret the decision, so I need some constructive guidance.